Welcome to episode 2 of Celestial Channel Chat. This is the Peace Dealer, and I'm here with Sharon. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, as always. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, but once I get the podcast set up, these will definitely be on the podcast. I'm pretty sure you could take previously recorded material and add it on. So definitely grateful for that. But how are you doing? Good evening.
Great evening, beautiful souls and everyone. So great to be here again. Episode number 2.
Yup.
Yeah, looking forward to that podcast thing you talk about. Is that podcast where the show goes onto the podcast, or you're doing a separate thing where it's a podcast?
Oh no, great question. So I found a way to like streamline uh what I record. So uh
Okay.
what I'll do is I'll take the previous episodes we've had and just previous videos, and then I'll redact the audio and I'll
hmm
put it on the podcast. And then in future, when we record, it'll also be simultaneously recording on a podcast.
Oh, awesome. I love
So
it. Let's keep blasting out the frequencies.
Mystical Illuminations podcast coming soon.
All
Def-
right.
Definitely grateful. And yeah, just to reiterate, because the episode 2 is called Psychic Self Defense, but this series is definitely focused on sacred unions and just kind of connecting the divine masculine and feminine within us.
Yes.
Amazing. So yeah, keep that in mind. We're going to be talking about psychic self-defense today, and more so in how it pertains to, protecting from unions. Because it's actually very interesting, like the most interference that I have ever gotten, that I needed the most psychic self-defense for, has had everything to do with sacred unions. I mean, I've literally had, I wanted to go connect with somebody in Canada who I have
hmm
a very, very powerful connection to. And this was like a few years ago. I booked a flight, and they wouldn't let me board the plane because I didn't print out my boarding pass like 29 minutes to the time. I think it was like just one minute off, and I still had time to get there, and they just
Right.
wouldn't let me board. So they actually they actually postponed my flight and gave me another flight, and I came back 2 hours later. I go, and then the flight is delayed like a couple hours, so that if I got to the connecting flight, I would miss the connecting flight going to Canada. So I just got straight blocked. I thought that was really interesting. And every time it comes to stuff like that, I get blocked. And it's even crazier because during those years, I've noticed in consultations with people, they've had very similar things, especially with
hmm
mutable sign moons. So
Yes.
I know you're definitely very versed in the art of not even just psychic self defense, but just psychic
Yeah.
hygiene. So
Oh, yeah.
definitely grateful to
Yes.
converse on this very
Yes.
important topic with you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time I think about when we first connected, and there was definitely some energy that was trying to stop us from uh communicating or something, and I kind of felt like when it happens in that kind of sense, then I know it's something big, and here we are now, we push through all of it. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so because I know I have the ability to see when it comes across like bullshit, this is what I want to call it. And like, okay, I see it, and then it's like I end up transmuting it at the same time that it's happening immediately, so I don't take it too personal,
Yeah.
and I see it for what it is, and then I push through it. And sometimes it may go in layers, with each person that you might come into initial contact with on this path. So it's really being in a greater keen awareness to be able to decipher what it is, because sometimes there's some people that carry what I call the dark energies or the negative energies, and it depends on where you feel they are with their heart, or
Yeah.
you have the ones that have a hidden agenda, and you have to be conscious about where you think that it's where it's coming from, based on how they're responding to you, how they talk to you, or what you feel maybe, the agenda. Because sometimes there are hidden agendas, that come through from people. And this is so important when it comes to protecting your own union space, your own union energy. You know what I mean? Very, very important. So, yeah.
And I mean, the other half of this is also um, practicing psychic self defense against any unresolved
Mhm.
trauma within oneself, and
Yes.
that comes with proper psychic hygiene and really
Hmm.
being honest with oneself. Because I know in the same example, a lot of what has gotten in my way of physically manifesting a union is myself.
Yeah. We're
So
usually our own, that word, that saying that says we are our own worst enemies. It can be true. It really is true, for real. So, I've been through some deep, serious internal trauma when I started out. I call it my full blown awakening, which is back from 2014. And it was a doozy with what I was experiencing. And so when you start on your path, especially when it involves someone else that you're connected to, everything and all things are going to just come up to the surface, like full force, so that I can tell you. Mhm.
Jupiter
Mhm.
said, taking a shower is psychic hygiene too. Very true. Um,
Yeah.
letting the water clear away um, stagnant energy and what.
Mhm.
But yeah, so what do you feel are certain um, blocks that? What do you feel are certain symptoms or signs that someone might be blocked when it comes to certain unions, especially when it comes to like you know differences of when other people become outside influences to get in play.
Um, you mean like as if it's like outside influences that you feel that are attacking on you? You talk about verbally, or because there's just so many different scenarios that we can have when it comes to having a psychic defense, with something.
Yeah.
One of the first principles I say is not being resistant to what is showing up in your reality, because whatever it is that's showing up in your reality, it's important to at least try to have a greater understanding of what is it that is showing up, what is it that's presenting itself, for you. I'll give you the real life example with myself. When I started out on my path, as far as like I was aware that I was going through a huge spiritual transformation. And what happened is everyone in my reality, friends, family, children, everyone felt to me like an enemy. Everyone felt to me like something that's out to get me, or something's attacking me coming from them. So when I realized that at that moment I was going through several past life memories, they were showing up. Some were more intense than others. I mean, so intense that even there was times when I saw myself being raped. I saw myself being stabbed, and the stab wounds were showing up on my body. I mean, that's how intense it can become. And so I knew within myself that I wasn't to take it personal, but I had to still push through it internally. So I had to be like I said, in a greater awareness of what it means. And so it's almost like being like a raw open wound. It's like you're like an open gigantic human wound vessel. So everything is like a leper. It's like I literally was like, oh my god, I gotta get out of here. Oh, this one is that's what it was like for me. There's because what I made sure to do was tell everyone around me, look, I'm going through some spiritual changes. This is what's happening, and I'm still the same person, but that's how I respond. It's like I literally felt myself like I wanted to kill someone because I saw him as a sex slave. And it's like I felt like I was a sex slave in that past life. And so when I saw him, he was repulsive to me. And I felt like I had to get out of his space because I felt like I was going to punch him. That's how I felt. So
Mhm.
sometimes it may come across like that. I've had moments where people, where I was feeling personal attacks coming onto me on what you call it, social media, and I knew that it was something playing again out from a past life memory or something to do with that person. And then it felt like a personal attack. And what I did is I stayed in my power. So it's important to stay in your power, have a greater understanding of it. Sometimes you may have to take spiritual baths, sometimes you have to bring in all that crystal energy around your body and protecting yourself in that way as well. Sometimes I've had to curse. Yeah, I talk about that too. Sometimes I got to curse it out. If you have to curse out somebody or anything, don't sit there and take it, because you're taking it into your energetic field. And what happens is at some point it'll start to come into a greater balance, and I call it like neutralization or something, and it might come up again and repeat itself again depending on what's happening. You know what I mean? But if something is repeating itself over and over again with someone personally attacking you, that's something that's showing up in your space where it's time for you to close the chapter of that cycle that you didn't get to close. It may be in that previous lifetime with that person. And sometimes you just got to put a motherfucker in their place. That's what it is. Sometimes it takes that. And that it's not about all the time, oh, I'm just going to send them love and light and, and healing. Okay, great. But complete the circle, that if you have to tell them about themselves, then do that. Okay, so that's another way of how I have protected myself. Do you see what I'm saying? Where to the point where at some point you don't even have to say anything. You're just it. You know what I mean? You're just it. That's it. And it doesn't come, it's like it's not even going to come into your space, because you're clear on what you're choosing, and also what you're shifting through, because this is a very dense place on Earth, very dense. So there's a lot of dense energies that we've had to transmute, especially for many of you who were in a greater awareness of your path from 2014 and 16 and 17. Oh my gosh. It is like the game was on. That was like everything put together, Game of Thrones. It was like Hunger Games. Everything's like everybody was after each other. That's what it felt like. So for many of you that are just now waking, many of us have already cleared most of the density for you to help for those who are coming into that greater union space with themselves and others. You know what I mean? So I at least wanted to say that part.
I'm glad you shared that too, because you personally have Chiron in Pisces, so your description of like dreaming or having visions of marks, and then actually having the marks on your body.
Yes, I took pictures of it too. I sure did, Mike, because at the moment when it happened, I was having a memory of something, and I went in the bathroom and I just started seeing all the wounds show up in my body. And I
Wow.
knew it was because of something that wasn't resolved, and it showed up in my body. And then within, I would say maybe half an hour or so, it disappeared after I got out of the bath. Uh-huh.
And and Mercury right now is on Chiron, like Brett had mentioned. So it's that transition, like when Chiron was in that last cycle and left Pisces. It's like
Yes.
people reacted too sensitively. Like we needed to be compassionate. We had to show. We had to keep our distance, but we had to still hold space and love. But now it's in Aries. We gotta put people in their
Yes.
place. We gotta let them know.
Yes,
Hey,
yes,
like,
yes, yes, yes. And you're right when you said that too, is that your soul is going to pull you away from at the moment when you're awakening to this and you're going through all of these reverse cycles of energy. I say reverse cycles because we're bringing it in reverse, and it's like your body and your mind and your soul, your emotional body, your etheric body is going through I call it like going through a washing machine. Like you're purifying all of that stuff that you've gone through. And remember, what you're also purifying is who you were, not only as what we don't call ourselves as victims, but also when you are the victimizer. So it's you're going through two elements, especially if you're sharing that energy between your twin soul or your sacred partner. Is like you both have played both roles, and so it's like you're doing it on two ends, and it can almost make you feel like you're crazy, because I know that there's some people that they were institutionalized because they were thought of being crazy because of all the stuff that was coming out of them. You know what I mean? And not everyone was understanding that we were going through an awakening. So that's the part of the awakenings, when you're awakening to yourself. You're awakening to all your past lives that you've had hundreds of thousands of times. Hundreds of thousands of times. That's a lot of energy. You see? A lot of energy. So you're going to be protective with people that have to separate from you, because again, you may be raw and open, and you may come back and connect with them again. And what you feel within yourself is that you feel even more empowered, that it just can't touch you anymore. You see what I'm saying? It just bounces off. Yeah.
And it's it's actually great that we get the chance to do this, because the the process of defending oneself, and psychic self-defense could be interchanged with just psychic hygiene, or just really being mindful and conscious of what vibes you're allowing around you. But
Yes.
the whole mode is changing. Like, we compared to last year versus what one must do this year, it's definitely a more proactive approach that has to be taken. For
Mhm.
example, whereas we had to take a more defensive style, and definitely clear your energetic space. None of this has to be too elaborate. If it's just something that's consistent, you do every day, clear your
Mhm.
energetic space, make sure the energies within you are resolved, and not
Yes.
allowing you to project other people, and
Yes.
just making sure that you don't have toxic people connected with you energetically, and that you still don't have them in your life that you already complain about. Now we're having to take a more proactive approach and directly confront people in your life that are, aggressively being toxic towards you, or whether passive aggressively. And it's more than a
Mhm.
snip, as opposed to, just like you said, putting people in their place. So
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like thinking of when you have your clothes, you have on your clothes, and your clothes accumulate dirt. And when you go around certain people, if they're at a particular vibration, and you're already feeling that it's not matching, because this happens automatically anyway, where you can feel that someone is not in that same conscious level as you are, and it doesn't feel right. And so, uninvite yourself from that, because what'll happen is, if you're taking in what they're experiencing, and you're absorbing in all of it, if you're not at that place where you're able to detach from it, then you're going to take on their shit. Do you see what I'm saying? And then you're piling that up on top of your own stuff. So if you're in separation from someone, it is for your highest and purpose. So, one of the great things too that I can advise is to um, allow yourself to not be resistant to that, and let that go. Like, really, really let it go. Because it could be anything that's toxic for you, anything, anyone, anywhere. And you will know, because your soul is guiding you to that place. You see?
so true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
And
then eventually, oh, sorry.
oh no, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say that eventually, what'll happen when you're at that space and place energetically, you will be able to be among people, and it doesn't affect you, because you have that protective shield around you, just like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, Mike. You're gonna say something.
No, no, no. I was really just gonna act on what you're saying, but I want to say now, you I've definitely confirmed that your Pisces moon and your Pisces energy uh, are the reason why I keep yawning. It's I almost
I know. I saw you were yawning from it started.
I I almost and I slept in today. Like, there's no, I'm not even really tired. It's almost as if, like, you're clearing my energy, and every time
Yeah.
you speak, I'm having to release and, like, literally yawn
Yeah.
out. So thank you, because I
You're
know.
welcome. You can thank Sharon's higher self. That's what she does.
Thank you.
Yeah, she don't play.
She does. Oh
Oh.
God. Oh, wow.
My Pisces is off the chart everywhere, boy. The Mercury, the Venus, Chiron, everything's just Pisces, Pisces, all that water energy with that. And I see right through all of this. That's why I kind of smile when sometimes when they can oh gosh, they can actually see me, or they can sense, like, oh, I ain't gonna go near her because she's gonna see right through me. Yeah, that's right. You got that right. But we all can build up to that place just the same with protecting ourselves, protecting ourselves when it comes to psychic vampires, people that want to suck you dry, and especially when they come and they try to play tricks on you. You know what I'm saying? And they try to be manipulating. And I said, look, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. So get out of my space. Stay in your lane. I'm gonna stay in mine. And that's why sometimes you have to come across like that. You know what I'm saying? You really gotta sometimes bring in that part of yourself with how you are protecting even that life force. You're protecting your life force with what you're bringing in and what you're releasing out to others. Sometimes there are some people that is just not worth the energy to have to keep explaining over and fucking over. And like my kids know me, I don't like repeating things over and over again. And if I see you repeating the same thing, bye, that's it. Take care of yourself. When you are ready, then you might come back into that space with that other person. But again, that's a whole different energy compared to the ones that they deliberately will be out there trying to manipulate, trying to goad you on with words and stuff like that. And they think, like they think you're stupid, because and still it's a part of your soul testing yourself, like, am I gonna like still stay within my own integrity? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to compromise myself just because if this person doesn't like who I am or what I say? Especially when it comes to all the traditional holidays and the traditional stuff and who you're becoming more and more as you step greater into your power. Because remember, the there's another saying is that the deeper you go into the depths of this, what they call the hell and the hole and the darkness and the shadow, and the higher you're rising, it's going to keep, balancing in that direction. Do you see what I'm saying? And the key is to be in the awareness of what part of yourself is showing up through these people as well, that you're sort of testing yourself to say, this is who I am. I'm okay with it. And I'm going to keep it stepping. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, like we can't turn it backwards once it starts to happen. You see, because once you open that Pandora's box, you know that, right? You open that Pandora's box and everything starts falling out the closet. The skeletons, the good stuff, the not so good stuff, everything. Especially since we're in this black hole energy that's sucking things in and pulling things out. I call it even like a tornado. Tornado, when the tornado comes around, it's gonna bring in, take up stuff that's, and there's stuff that's left behind. Am I correct? So it's sort of the same thing within ourselves, because we're the one that's creating all of these realities and all of these weather systems and all these things. And so, we're not going to beat it, but we're going to be right in the midst of it. And it's to accept what it is, surrender to it, and keep it moving. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. You got a team that's right here with you, that's guiding, but be open to where you're being led and protecting yourself at the same time. See? hmm
Yeah,
I
no,
hope that made sense.
no, definitely, it definitely does. It's it's so much more important because just like there are people who um you can't explain stuff to over, there are people who are also going to look like, and the Teal Company said you're such a strong channel, which is definitely amazing.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's like there are going to be people who will look at what you're doing and just learn the basics, try and get a rapport with you, and once they get your trust, they know they can deceive you. And
Yes.
these agents that with Chiron shifted into Aries, um, that's the whole thing. Like Uranus was in Aries for 6 years, oh, ever since 2011, so close to 10 years. Monday,
hmm
the sun's going to be on Uranus, so this will be the first like official
The sun's
conjunction.
gonna be on my ass again.
Yes, but in Taurus, so it's going to be grounding. It's going
Wow.
to,
Well, remember my North Node is in Taurus too as well, and my rising. So it's really encompassing all over. You know what I mean?
Mhm. But see
Yeah.
that this whole decade was a cycle where simultaneously we were able to grow into higher heights of who we could possibly be and evolve our characters to the next level. It was also another long cycle for people to study our movements, to study our
Yes.
characters. Like, I don't know if you know, but A lot of you are being watched. A lot of you are being investigated. A lot of you are being sampled by your demographic. You're being labeled. You're put in a box. You're watched by agents who've been taking this time to approach you, and they can
Yeah.
just act like, they can speak your language. They can act like they know you. They can develop
Hmm.
rapport with you fast. So you must have discernment. Not everybody who seems like they're random is truly random, and it's nothing to really evoke fear. Um, but
Yeah.
it's definitely something to be alert. Just like Sandy said, these agents stalk people, I've noticed, in real life. Absolutely.
Yeah, I heard, especially they have particular algorithms, of stuff that goes on. Because I remember when I did that radio show, and the lady told me that it was a good thing I didn't have over 5,000, friends, which I did before. But obviously, there was a reason why my soul doesn't really push things as much with me out there with how much people, because the system has to keep filtering through all of the those energies. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like people who have all these hundreds of thousands of people that follow them, again, everything is going to keep filtering through until it finally just disintegrates more and more. And then those who are really in integrity, and we're bringing things back into that purified state, that's what's going to be sustained. And that's why it's important every time you're going to be tested. Are you staying in integrity? Are you being truth? Are you being authentic? Are you also paying attention to everything around you, but then you're not attaching to it, and you're not being, engaging in the fear factors and all the bullshit in the news and all that stuff. That's why I loved when you had said, when I think you said, I think you mentioned it. We were talking about the Notre Dame, and you said, look beyond just that, and what is the bigger picture. Every time something happens, keep looking at the bigger picture. Do you see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these
And always
systems
follow the
are,
money.
pardon me.
And always follow the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Follow the rabbit too. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
yep, that's true. Because there's always something that's going to be out there that they will try to catch your attention, and so you can come off track and derail off your path. And so if you believe the hype and you go into it, always immediately when you hear something, first tap in immediately before you go keep engaging in what you're taking in. Like then, because once you're used to being this way, just like breathing. I talk about this in the book. When you're breathing, you don't think about breathing. So when you are in this level of discernment, it's automatic that your soul is going to just say, how does this feel? Because the feelings is the strongest language for you. Does this feel like this is real, or does this feel like something that's dogmatic to put you in fear so you can derail yourself and come off track again and fall for it? You know what I mean? And so that's very, very, very important. Or the ones that come with the pity party. Oh, look at me. Oh, don't do that. But you know what I'm saying? The subtle, subtle type of manipulation, and why that's important to protect yourself when it comes to that as well. Really, really protect yourself, or even in your own family. Like it could be they come across innocently. Oh, but honey, this is what we're used to doing. That's what it's. Come on now. We got to stick with the traditions.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yep, right. Hmm.
Another thing, no one has noticed how extra nosy the people are getting into astrology are. Barely get. Yeah, no, I've noticed that too, Sandy. But the whole thing with Uranus and Aries was to quantumly evolve your actions. And by the same token, study people's actions towards you over the past few years, because that's going to let you know the level of respect that they've had for you. We all know the people who, for example, never comment on anything you do unless it's to criticize you or to be negative.
Yes.
Whereas, other than that, you didn't even know they exist. So really, really study these actions. Take from 2011 to now. How have people's actions, regardless of what they told you, um, reflected their respect to your character or not? Because now we have data. Now we have real experiences. Let me tell you why. Because now that Uranus is in Taurus, everyone's going to glow up this year. Everyone is going to be put in a position where the people watching you have been waiting for you to be in a position to where they can use you or to where they can throw you under the bus. And when many people with this deceptive Neptune and Pisces energy, which Neptune and Pisces alone is not purely deceptive, but in a world that lacks integrity, it is very deceptive. People misuse that energy. So they make stuff up to make things appear. However, you will have people acting like, oh, congratulations. I hope many of you are aware, a lot of you are stepping into success that no one can take from you. That's the whole purpose of Uranus and
Exactly.
Aries. It's manifested on your own merit. And you've been doing things that other people didn't know how to understand because it's new, because it's you. So when they start to act like, oh, hey, wow, congratulations, how can I be a part of this? You need to judge their actions the past few years. Where were they when you needed help? What support did they show or not show? How did their actions reflect their level of respect to you? And it had me really look back and realize, wow, there's a lot of people who I respect that have not really shown me that level of respect in a very passive aggressive way, or direct. That it's not about making cuts, it's about making the right decision and protecting yourself, because this is, a lot of people are going to get disappointed for suddenly getting attention from people they've been wanting to impress, and then getting deceived again. So
Another thing too, what Spirit is guiding me to mention, this is like a real life example I'm giving. When I went through all of my stuff last year with the homelessness, car repossessed, all these things, and it would appear negative, of course, as if something's against me. And so you might have like your family members, friends, whatever, like, oh, don't you see that what you're doing is bringing this on you and stuff like that? And it is like they may come in and try to say, watch and see what happens, to see how much more if you're going to fall, or how much more you're going to, probably go back and revert back to how they want you to be. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's also going to be a test for you. And are you going to stay on path? Are you going to still keep following your inner guidance and not fall back into a trap of the old system? Do you see what I'm saying? And it
yeah,
can, and like I said, that could come in very, very subtly, because I had reached a point where I said, okay, I couldn't ask for any more help with anything. So then I knew, game on, another game on for me, and how much more I'm empowering myself and listening true to myself. No, and that means that everything and all things is going to feel like it's coming up against you, like one after the other, like my computer crash, home gone, this, that, stuff thrown. I mean, the list goes on and on. And oh, you're doing demon stuff and all this and that. Yep. All right. Are you tuning it out? Are you really seeing yourself for what you're transmuting here, what you're bringing on in a new way and a new thought, and following your path and still staying within integrity? That even if you feel like you probably would be better off just going back to getting help the way you're used to, because you feel that that's the best way for you, because it's more comfortable for you. But remember that we're doing things in an unconventional way, and
exactly.
very, very unconventional, that they're not expected. So you're going to be watched even more than ever. Like they're watching in the silence. And come on, there's so many of us in different parts of the world that similar things are happening. Do you see what I'm saying? Similar things are happening in terms of how we're awakening, how we're remembering ourselves, and stuff like that. And even you look at what Yeshua went through. He demonstrated so many miracles, so much magic all around, and still people didn't believe. So that's why it shouldn't matter what anybody says. It shouldn't matter what anybody says. Do you see what I'm saying? It
Very
really, really, like, can't have any fucks to give. Everybody knows that's my motto. None to give. Totally
care
detached. Mm-hmm.
There's none. And it's very amazing because now is even more pivotal a time to manifest. Oh, oops. Now is even more pivotal a time to manifest the hard work that we've done uh living unconventionally and putting ourselves out there in a position to
Mm-hmm.
represent this path. A lot of you, and this is why, having the proper self-defense psychologically is important because, as you mentioned, there are going to be people who want to take what you're doing and make you doubt what you're doing, so you feel that it's because of you that
Mm-hmm.
it's happening like
It's
so,
happening. Yes,
because
yes.
of what you're doing. But if we and so this is what is so this is why those of you who maintain integrity, because a lot of you got called into this path without the proper details. Many of you who walk this path of light working, or I hate to say spiritual because it's even deeper than that. You know that you're coming into this, which is a field that is not heavily regulated. There's already so much stigma in it, which is why you're called into this, not so that you can be the most famous reader ever. The reason why you're called into this path is so that you can highlight your life of integrity and show people,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I engage in this modality. Look at my life. You can tell I'm not a fraud. I'm honest with what I do. If I can be honest and make a difference in people's lives, you can too. Your life is literally, the litmus test. And so this is the, of course, nothing is ever black or white. This is really the importance of you walking in integrity in this path. There are so many people in this same field who use this to deceive people, who use this
Yes.
to defraud.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. That's another thing too, because, especially some who I have to give you this joke. I'll never forget when I think it was back in 2015 or so, and I was heavily engaged in Facebook and all that stuff. And this woman that she was on that twin soul path also, and she was with her so-called twin, and she was personally attacking me just because I was in my joy and because of who I was in a past life. And what she did is she put something out there. It was a picture of who I was back then, and I had a big forehead, and they said that we were aliens, and that made me happy. So she thought it was gonna make me feel upset, and she blasted it out there, thinking that people were gonna also come and laugh at me or something. And when I typed in, I said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I already knew we were aliens." So, la 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 la, and she got upset because I didn't respond the way she expected it to be. Do you see what I'm saying? And it was all innocent. So I didn't let other people and their crap what they try to do, and it's all that stuff, because the more you're becoming empowered and who you are and all that stuff, you're going to attract the ones who are having their self issues with who they are. And you know what? She's not even on Facebook anymore or anything. YouTube gone, everything gone. See?
Yeah.
And they claim to be in the past. And one day I typed in and I said, "Wait a minute! Oh, I forgot. There's a twin flame police out there because I'm not saying things the right way." You see what I'm saying? Because some people think that you're supposed to be this way to be spiritual, and this way is, so on and so forth, and these labels and stuff. And that's how you could get caught up in all that bullshit again to derail you off of your path. Your path is sacred and it is pure for you with source, and it is not for anyone, for you to allow, I should say, anyone to, because it's what you allow. It's what you allow. You know what I mean? And you can uninvite yourself from all of that and be able to see that, not because somebody is spiritual or because they have 500,000 followers, or, I've seen it all. And I've watched and observed it, Mike, when I just see that it's like I call it the house of cards continue to fall and fall and fall. You see, because everything in this energy is going to keep bringing out what is in the, we call it the unconscious, or whatever's hidden, or the bullshit, if it's, if it's not within integrity, or the ones that go back and forth and say, "Oh yes, I'm all for, spiritual stuff," and then they go back into the old religious path, which is okay because it happens. I notice it's quite interesting that there's some who are on the religious path that they change over to hip hop, and then there's some that's in the hip hop that change over to the religious path. It's really interesting. It's really interesting, the dynamic of how this all shows itself.
And
Seriously.
unfortunately, there are just people who lack integrity in this path, which
Mm-hmm.
adds to the stigma of this, which is why I said there's a fight for truth right now. And no matter who's flinging accusations, the best thing you can do is just stay true. Keep on doing the hard work you're doing. You
Mm-hmm.
literally have nothing to prove at all. The only thing you really want to do is just do the work you're doing to the best of your ability. Because this is my prophecy or promise to you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is my prophecy or promise to you. What's going to happen here is that for those of you who are very serious about this path, see, just like there are forces that are undermining the work we do, there are positive forces who have put in this work, myself included, that we're making our own platforms that people can say what they want, but the truth is the truth. So
Exactly.
a lot of what we're doing for the first time be legitimized while simultaneously frauds get exposed. Like there's a win-win happening here. So you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have a majority of the populace that really looks into what we've been doing with new eyes. And not only are they going to see it with new eyes, they're going to see success that pops out. A lot of you haven't really been super open about the good news of it happening. You're going to see success pop out serendipitously for some of you, or normally, because I mean 10 years of work has been put in, so this is just natural. Uranus is in Taurus, it is manifesting. Jupiter is in Sag, it is literally ascending those who are ready to ascend. It's not really rocket science, it's just natural order. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is why I'm saying be very, very, very careful, because you're going to have people just act like they've always been down for the cause. You're going to have people really put in some type of very fake empathy and sympathy towards what you're going through, and you can let agents infiltrate your core and break you down from within. Please judge the actions. Like anyone who didn't believe in you before, don't just suddenly believe them, because now they see that what you're doing is profitable. It was easy for them to sit on the sidelines and throw a label on you. A lot of what's happening to people in this community is purely fallacious. For example, if you see a doctor that doesn't practice medicine right, if you see a lawyer that is a fraudulent lawyer, if you see a judge that's a fraudulent judge, you don't say that the law system is a sham. You don't tell doctors, oh, see, like you're doing this medicine, that's why it doesn't work. No, you know that there's just a sham in a legitimate practice, but they don't apply the same thing to psychic arts or astrology. What they're going to do is say, oh, see, there's so many frauds here, that means what you're doing must be fraudulent. People who will say, if you keep messing, maybe it's because you're messing with these demons, or maybe it's because you're reading these tarot cards, or maybe it's because you're doing this. It's purely disrespectful. Like people will act like they have concern, but it's purely disrespectful, because you would never go to a professional and tell them that when you have no idea what they do. The people saying this have never read a tarot card. The people saying this.
I find that to be so interesting when you mention that, Mike. Like, there's so many times when I've offered people, especially anyone that's been close to me, it's like, why don't you let me explain to you? And they just resistant. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Very
Exactly.
resistant, but they want to judge. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'll never forget when my aunt called me up. This was around Christmas time, and she's like, "I know what you're doing." I'm like, "Really? What am I doing?" Oh, you're doing all this stuff to people. I said, "What am I doing?" I said, "As far as I know, there's a lot of people healing, and they're in joy from the healing that I'm giving to them. So please explain, what are
Yeah.
you seeing? You're,
Exactly.
you're projecting and you're perceiving something that you don't understand. You haven't spoken to me in 3 years, and because you are perceiving things, then you think I'm doing something wrong. Whatever." And that's how you protect yourself, by walking away. You just got to keep walking away, no matter how much you love, if you love someone or however, and we got to keep it moving. So I
It's
know
perfectly
exactly what you're
said.
talking about.
Perfectly said. I'm going to repeat that too. It's like people will not be willing to listen openly about what
Nope.
you do, but they are open to judge what you
To
do,
judge, yes.
even though they have no idea.
No idea, and they want to look at it as evil and bad. And even when you think about astrology, and numerology. It's the That's who we are. It's a part of our essence in the universe. Do you see what I'm saying?
This is how huge the cognitive dissonance is. It's like people like you and I, we literally there are so many people who can be contacted. There's so many people you can ask right now, and we both have receipts because anybody can say, "Oh, I got a reading from them and they were terrible." Then they have to get their receipts. Like we can prove
Can
that
prove it. Yep.
every single client that we've had, every single person we've touched. We have testimonial sites, we have everything. Like our work has shown that we're actually making a positive difference. People are willing to
Exactly.
overlook that and still judge. That's cognitive
Still
dissonance.
judge. And that's why we just let it go, because they choose to want to stay in their reality with what they're seeing. And, I want to ask this question. How many of you saw the movie Glass? I know I had mentioned it moons ago, maybe 2 moons ago or four. Glass is a perfect example of who we are more than what we're becoming, because, in one aspect of the self, he had multiple personalities. And then you had Samuel Jackson, and you also had Bruce Willis. And I'm talking about that movie in and of itself talks about how they were judged, and not only judged, but how there was that those energies of people that were against them because they knew of the power that's coming to the planet. And
Yeah.
so these people who are what we call against or judging or whatever, they already can feel it because we're all connected. They can feel and know something is happening. It's just that it wasn't the way how they expected it to be. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the more you let go of how you perceive things to be or how you think it's going to show up, you know what I'm saying? Here it is. I love especially when they come at me with the scriptures, because I come with the scriptures too, and they're like stunned, like, "Oh my God, I wasn't expecting that," but they still can't say anything. Did you see what I'm saying?
And then when you expose the history of the same scriptures they quote, they get
Yeah,
defensive. They don't want to listen to reason. They
don't want to listen to it at all.
at
None
all,
at all.
or they'll just say the reason is just some type of fictitious energy.
Yeah.
It even goes deeper here because now Uranus is in Taurus, y'all. You need to understand your worth. Let me tell you what's going to happen. There are people who've been putting in this work, and like I said, we've been being watched. And the
Yeah.
thing about this is, you have influencers at higher platforms. People will act like they want true spirituality, but this next wave that's coming up is a trending spirituality. People are going to act like they really, and this is why you need to know your worth. It don't be focused. And Gary Vee says this too. When you're on a YouTube channel, when you're an influencer, the last thing you need to care about is the number of followers you have. Work on your craft and work on how good you are. Trust me, the most important thing you can do now that Uranus is Taurus, produce what's meaningful to you, work on your craft, focus on taking what you do and making it into the greatest. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. And this can discourage so many of you, whether you're a light worker, whether you're an astrologer, whether you're a physician, whether you're a business person. This is going to happen in every field. Let's take what we're doing right now. So the reason why you need to know your worth, whether you're popular or not, there is a reason why you are called to do what you do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Dara said that ever since she came to my channel, her life has been changed. I bring a special magic to what I do. So I'm not the only one that reads
Yeah, you
astrology.
bring the galactic magic. That's what you bring.
Thank you. There's
That's
so
it.
many people. It's so easy to read astrology. There's so many instant astrologers. You can learn basic astrology in less than 2 weeks, and you can already start giving predictions. So I'm not the only one that gives horoscopes, but why is it that I come into people's lives in such a crazy way? It's because I was called into this path. I didn't just join this path because it's like, oh, I want to make money reading charts. I was called
Well,
in.
actually, Mike, I'm going to correct you. You are the path. You make the path. You are the path. And there's just greater cosmic energy that exists within you and exists within me. You bring it astrologically. I bring it energetically. You know what I'm saying? And in a great cosmic way. So when we're all together here on here, we're really literally activating the true essence of ourselves as we're breaking down the system, breaking down the walls. And we're not here to save anyone. Please release that from your subconscious minds.
Nope.
You're not here to say that's the old programming.
Yeah.
Be as authentic and true to yourself. That's one of the keys. That's one of the keys to how you're pushing through anything that you may feel that you have to defend yourself. Because you get to a point where you don't have to defend yourself. When people have started waking up, and I was noticing people say, "Oh, I want to go get a gun and then we're gonna kill this," and it's because you're releasing anger and stuff from the past. But it doesn't mean that there's a war going on here. There is a war in terms of a spiritual warfare. Yes, this because it's like we're at war with one aspect of the soul in the microcosmic and the macrocosmic. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything that's happening with us here is also happening cosmically in the higher realms. Okay, in every single way. And the great thing is that we're at a place where the veil is thinner. There's more that are awakening, so it's like the light side is winning, you know what I mean? But there's still little remnants of stuff that may be lingering, and it's to be mindful. Ooh, 222 watching. Be mindful of where you are, what is being shown to you, and that you use common sense, because a lot of times people seem to forget about applying common sense also, you know what I'm saying, to their path. And they allow themselves to be again drifted away from it. I mean, just like I go back to the movie Glass, he was so brilliant. Samuel Jackson, I don't remember the name that he used, where he was aware of what was going to come. That's why you have that intuition. You tap it into that feminine energy of your intuition and what's being shown to you, so you'll know where to be at the right place at the right time. Do you know what I mean? And in every moment, and that you don't have to repeat over and over again. Oh, I'm thankful for being protected. I'm thankful. Oh, I'm so glad I'm protected. Oh, I'm so no. Just know it. Know it. You are the protector. You are protect. You always have been. That the only thing to fear is the fear itself. That's what is there to fear, because they won't attach to you. All those energies will not attach to you if you are not giving it that energy. If you're not feeling like as if you see what I'm saying. And once you surpass that point, and we're templating, like Mike says, Uranus and Taurus, we're breaking things down and we're building up again. We're breaking things down and we're rebuilding again, and it's going to be a constant rebuilding. Because wait till when what they showed me, like what happened with Notre Dame in Paris, something major is going to happen in many cities that have major monuments and stuff that has meant so much for humanity. Be prepared for what's coming, and don't be surprised at what is coming, because we're doing this. We're the ones that's creating this major, major, major change. See?
And to kind of reiterate, people like Sharon and I, where I don't even mean, because I'm going to say ordained, but that just sounds too that has a word to it. Basically, be look at the people who are authentic about their path versus those who aren't. The actions have been expressed. Look at people's like track records, because this is to kind of conclude my point. This is what's going to happen, y'all. People act like they want spirituality. They want what's trending. You're going to see people come up out of nowhere, right? I was initiated, like Miss Kiki said. You're going to see people come up out of nowhere who, by society's standards, look more popular. They have more of a popular base, and people are going to go to them just because they've seen, oh, spirituality is trending. Let me start talking about astrology. Let me start reading tarot. Oh, I can make so much money on this. And you're going to see network producers and providers start to focus more on them because they look more the part. And if you're not discerning, it could be very easy to get caught up in that. After all, their astrology transit readings are accurate. Their tarot card readings are accurate. So what makes them any less authentic than people who don't do this for that? And this is why you need to be very discerning. And some of you guys can get very discouraged, where you see you think that you feel you're supposed to be in that position, getting a lot more notoriety, when you can tell someone is doing it for ulterior motives. This is where I'm saying, don't focus on that. keep focusing on staying true, because yeah, some people may take shortcuts in this race, but remember, you were called to do this for a reason. And this has everything to do with the psychic self-defense as well, because that's a passive aggressive form of making you doubt your path, right? When if it becomes too much of like popularity and clout for you, you're going to forget that you're doing this because people are sent to you, and they're not always good people, but these are parts of people in your journey. And just like Stilgar said, you will know them by their fruits. And guess what? Uranus and Taurus is an earth sign, so fruit is bearing the fruit for the actions that we've taken this last cycle, and it's going to be even harder. I mean, the deception is so rampant. I had this one girl text me out of nowhere on WhatsApp wanting me to trade Forex, and she wants my login information. She wants my Verizon login information. I'm trying to tell her, hey, I don't know you. Like, why are you, doing this? I caught her in a lie. I was like, are you Capricorn? She said yes, only to find out she was born another date. And I'm calling her out on these lies, and she's being all cyclical and turning it on me and acting like I'm the one who's stupid because I'm not letting her finesse me. Like, this is how cutthroat people are right now. They're out and open with their scamming behavior, with the lie.
But that's what we're doing, Mike, is that our energies is pushing out all the deceptiveness of people who are like that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's more amplified. I mean, even look at I didn't want to call names, but look at Oprah. She showed her colors with what
she took down that video, didn't she?
Yeah, she hurried up really fast to switch up. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, wow. So it's like, again, when I heard you talking too, I heard, Spirit say, remember that saying, many are called, but few are chosen. And that, the wheat is being separated from the chaff. Again, it's about being in that space of integrity at all times. You know what I mean? At all times. That's what's important with what you're doing with your path. And when you know that, I mean, for me, this is what it's like. It's like when I know that it might be kind of radical, so to speak, and that it's something that's triggering for something to change because I get the greater picture, stay focused on that. Stay focused on that. What's triggering the greater change, and not because of popularity and what someone else says because they want to, because it's about money and stuff like that, or where they place the value with money. You know what I mean? Because no matter what, it's not going to be able to hold its place. I'm telling you, even by the time they keep showing me, especially by the time we get closer to the physical number of 2020, because it's already happening now, it's like so much more things are going to continue to collapse. So much more is going to continue to collapse. Someone was asking what happened with Oprah. Well, she did that thing on HBO to do with Michael Jackson. And to me, all of that whole entire energy, because people put her also on a pedestal because she talks about spirituality and stuff like that. And then to me, it's like, for her, it's like when she did that, it was like she it's almost like, I don't know what the word to call it. It was just weird. It was just very weird energy. Like she was trying to gain her own popularity with what she was with someone who's not even here in the physical world, and sensationalize it. Sometimes people will do these things because they have a specific platform that they want to sensationalize things and try to get on the good side with other people, even if it has something to do with more money or whatever. But right now it's like this energy of karma is also in place. So whatever you put out there, it's going to come back. It's just going to come. Yeah, that's what it is. What she was like a sellout, like a sellout. So whatever you put out there, it's going to come back. It's just going to come back. In
And
full force.
I mean, a lack of integrity has been totally popularized over the past few years. You've had people born in an era where lacking integrity is the cool thing, where it's not, and it's gone on for so long that now it's starting to trend to be a good person, but it's not authentic. It's a trend. So, I mean, just stay vigilant, y'all, because Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn are not playing. And it's definitely going to not only reveal who's who, it's just I personally feel like there's so many people who are lost in the darkness within their own hearts. They can
Yeah.
realize, they can see that someone is completely, they can see that someone is completely lacking integrity, and they make excuses for that person. They still don't even care.
Themselves actually. Um, and sometimes people would rather stay comfortable in what society says and how it looks rather than walking their path in this integrity, even if it means that you're going to stand out in the crowd and be by yourself. You see? And even if it means that you're going to be personally attacked or someone may say something to you, are you going to be steadfast on, with your path that, again, if it's unconventional, if it's never been done before, if it goes against everything, that means you're on the right path. That means you're on the right path. You see? And that's one of the keys to discernment. Now some of you might also sometimes feel like you're being attacked while you're sleeping, so
Yep.
that's happened to me too. And again, my soul is so protective that if anyone is trying to like spiritually read up on me or anything like that, trust me, I wake up and I'm like, who are you? And they have to leave. So there's something about me that I I just have that protectiveness around myself. I've had the experience on the negative side where an entity was pressing down on my throat trying to kill me. Okay, that happened several years ago, and I ended up having to say, "The Lord is my shepherd," and I felt the finger come up off of my neck. And what it was, when I tapped into it, it was coming from my oldest son's father, who had negative thoughts about me, and he was so angry that the energy of that spirit came to my house and was pressing on my throat, trying to choke me in my sleep.
Wow.
Okay, so there might be cases where it's important to, which I'll recommend this for what you can do if you feel like something's physically attacking you, to surround yourself with light energy, okay, by speaking it out, and also get like Florida water. It's very important to cleanse your home, sage your place, even if it's at your job. I really don't give a shit if anybody hears this here, because this is what you're doing to protect yourself wherever you go. Because wherever you go, you are also connecting to energies that's there that you may not be able to see. So be mindful. Just like how when you leave off the street and you come home and hopefully you wash your hands. Well, it's the same thing. You have to clear your energetic field from when you go around people.
Yep.
Okay, it's important to do that. If you know someone is going through a lot of stuff in their life, you can love them at a distance and bless them. But remember, if you bring them into your home and they're going through stuff, you're bringing their stuff into your home. You're bringing that energy to you. Okay, if you know that someone is constantly draining, like you could feel the living life sucking out of you, time to let them go and say no, because it's doing you harm more than good, and you're not helping them either because they have to help themselves. You
Yep.
see, and sometimes we just have to let them go where they have to find themselves, they have to heal themselves. You can be a conduit for someone, but it doesn't mean that you have to absorb their issues and problems and their energy. So it's important to clear that dark energy. Then also you might be in a situation where you have ancestors that are around you, because I've had that where ancestors have visited me that have issues, and I had to help to heal through with them too. And you might feel what they're feeling. And so it's important to be conscious of what it may be, because that's energy that has been also following you wherever you go. And it may not be pretty. I mean, I've had um dreams and stuff connecting to my mother with stuff that she went through. I also, and she's on the other side, I also had stuff connected to my aunt and other relatives that I've never met before, and sometimes it may not be pleasant. Okay, I've also had past life memory that came up to do with myself and my twin as well. So you might also experience that type of dark energy where I saw where he was trying to kill me. Another time he's dragging me by my hair. Another time it's like I went through this energy of being raped and I saw the blood, and it's just all these different things that you will be processing through as well that may represent darkness. When I started out, I remember this was back in 2015 when I was in my other house, and there was hundreds of thousands, I mean hundreds of thousands of ancestors that came through. These were females, mostly females, and they were like 111. They were deeply like they were still on the earth, because there are some souls that they transition and they're still on the earth. So we're clearing dark energy through them too as well. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I had to chant and go around the house, and I was speaking in tongues and speaking in ancient languages, and they were all just setting themselves free. So some of you might have the gift that you're helping some souls to transition, okay? And souls that are still stuck on the earth, to be able to have them to help to leave and to heal. So again, it depends on the circumstances, but be aware of what it could be that when it comes to the elements of what we are transmuting. Okay, because we're doing this not only for ourselves and our ancestors, but for Mother Gaia. For Gaia. This is what's imperative to understand. And you also might be helping things to transmute even with your twins family, because I've had dreams to do with stuff to do with his family as well, and not just my own, because it's a shared energy. So it's a collective thing. But still, there's a time when you're going to feel like, you know what? I'm going to take back my space now. And it's important to take, like, sort of like spiritual baths with the sea salt and Epsom salt, and some of those leaves which you can get. Um, at the same time, to do that with your physical body. Okay, with your physical body, that's important to do that too. I do baths almost like, I mean, I used to do it more often, but I used to do it like every 3 days because of the contact I have with people. Very important. Yes, Indira sent me this herb bath, and it really, really helps, because we're going through sacred alchemy with so much energy, and it's important to protect your energetic field with your body, and with your mind and your soul. Is good to be able to find yourself to be in, even if it's a peaceful place, or just time to go for a walk, or watch a movie. That also plays a role in how you're able, with transmuting energies around you. Okay, very, very important. Yes.
Do you mind sharing? Someone wanted to know where your accent was from.
So why you don't tell them? I was born in the island of Jamaica, so I have a lot of ancestor rituals and stuff that came through to me from my mom. I had the pleasure of meeting my great grandmother in the spiritual realm when I was pregnant with Charlize. I'll never forget that day. I was laying on the bed, and she came, sat on the bed, and I knew it was her because I felt like I couldn't move, and I was like, I was telepathically communicating with her, like, "Who are you?" And she was heavy set, and she sat on the bed, and she started rubbing my legs, and she said to me that I'm going to be doing the same thing that she doing. She's straight from Africa, and I was told that her hair was long down to her back, and that she used to do a lot of spiritual readings and helping people to heal with herbs and stuff like that. And my mother is a herbalist too, so anyone that comes into contact with me or something's going on in their life, my mother will come through to me, and I will just automatically just hear what herb to guide the person to. And then even my own personal, it happened to me, for me too. So your ancestors are here to also help you to heal, because you're going through your own personal healing and helping them at the same time. Okay, so yes, and because that's another thing too, is that as far as physical health, There are people who are upset because eventually there's going to be doctors who are not going to have that many patients coming because you have the ability and the power to heal yourself. So I know some people putting out there, there's some physicians and healthcare professionals who are moving towards spiritual healing, and herbs and stuff like that, that they're disappearing and, stuff like that. And we're to be
Holistic
vigilant.
doctors too.
Pardon me?
Holistic doctors too.
Holistic doctors. Yes, the holistic doctors. That's right.
But they say
You know,
they
the,
say it's just the conspiracy so that they can cover it up.
to cover, right, to cover it up, because they know that, the pharmaceutical industry, be going out of business. And I'm telling you this is absolute truth. I have not been to a doctor in 5 years. 5 years.
Wow.
Okay. And I focus my intent on knowing that I am healthy and whole. And and ever since when I had contact with my twin in the physical space, that's when things started to go in reverse, because there's power that comes with your connection with your twin soul. And I know that when you do have physical contact, it burns away a lot of negative energy, which it means that negative stuff is going to come up to the surface. And there's things that are going to come up to do with the mental body, the emotional body, and the etheric body. But we will be at a place where we are healthy, looking and feeling younger. These are the keys to forgot that word. What's that word when you live long? You remember that word?
Longevity.
No, not longevity. Immortality.
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 Oh, okay.
Yes, because we
And
are immortal. Hmm?
just uh just to kind of clear things up, Sharon is not at all telling any of you not to go to the doctor. um
Right.
there are many amazing healthcare professionals. My mom is one of them. So like if you have a healthy relationship with the doctor, do it. But she's definitely letting you know that there are also ways that you can employ holistic self hygiene
Yes.
yourself that is very effective as well. It's something else that's not spoken of.
Yeah, and I mean, when I did see the doctor, I was going through huge amounts of heart activations. My heart was going like palpitating and rapidly. And when I went to the doctor, I told him straight up, I said, look, I'm just gonna let you know because I'm a straight up person. I'm going through some spiritual alchemy and changes. So my heart is accelerating. So he did the EKG and he said, well, I still want to be sure. I said, sure, it's okay. And I literally sat on the table. It reminds me of the movie Death Becomes Her, when she died and she was still alive. So if you feel in your heart to go to the doctor, please go to the doctor, because it's important to be
Yeah.
on track with what's happening with your body. But just know that many of you, which I've heard this, have symptomatic things that are happening and they can't find out what's going on. They don't know. They're just, all the tests are coming like negative, negative, negative. So remember, your body is going through a lot of spiritual changes as well. You're getting upgrades with all of this that's happening. Okay, lots and lots of upgrades. So the more you're tapping in to your inner knowing, that inner wisdom, you will know yourself to being guided and what to do. Okay, so by no means would I say not to go to the doctor. I'm just letting you know that eventually there will be no need to go to a doctor, because that's where the shamans come in, self-healing. And and it's all the aspects of self that heals, that's coming back, that again, there's this resistance. And again, there's doctors who are going to be incorporating um the holistic methods with their practice. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's not necessarily tied to getting yourself all medicated and stuff like that. Every time I think, sadly, Mike, I wanted to share this briefly, when one of my relatives, my aunt, bless her heart, my aunt Karen, she had what they call a mental issue. Okay. And that mental issue progressed so strongly for her that she was so medicated and institutionalized and everything. And something in my heart knew that something was wrong. This was from the time I was 15, in and out of institutions. And it so happened that she kept telling me something to do with the fact that she had two children and they were taken away from her and stuff like that. And I knew, and I felt in my heart something must have happened to her from her childhood. And it so happened that there was something that happened to her from her childhood. And what happened with her for their childhood? led to where she was emotionally and mentally. And no one took the time to figure out that that's where her pain was coming from. And what they did was medicate and band aid, what she was feeling. So many of you may have had experiences, sexual traumas and stuff like that. And it's like you're feeling like something's attacking you, or no one's understanding you and stuff like that. And now is for you, if you see someone in your family is going through anxiety, depression, sadness, the illnesses, please get to the root cause of where it may be coming from, because it's not about saying something's attacking you. It's that it has to do with something that is showing up or is there for healing that one may not have been able to identify.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's very important to do that. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I mean, I'm definitely excited about where we're going with this. I think especially you and I, we've been so busy, just like, and I agree with Susie. You should definitely be a best-selling author. But
Oh,
it's
well,
like,
I do have a book that I'm doing, The Return of the Garden of Eden. So, and I dreamt that it was the best selling book too. I did.
I will. Oh no, I totally will.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that there's so many people who are silent. There's so many people who aren't speaking up. So you might see a lack of support, but that's just because you're being watched. Like a lot of people aren't opening up and say there's so many ghost followers. And I don't want to just use social media reference,
Hmm.
because this applies to way outside of social media. But
Yeah.
you know, be very comfortable with being disliked, but know that you have support out there. It's not unanimous dislike. It's not unanimous blocking. We're talking about psychic self-defense, but this ironically is one of the most empowering periods that we're currently in, and it's definitely something you want to embrace. I think we've been so busy working on what we've been doing, we may not have realized, I'm sure you've realized, but we may not have really realized how far we've come, and how this is going to manifest like amazing, because it's happening right now. So I
Yeah.
mean, other than that, everyone stay vigilant. I will keep saying, and while you're in a position to be a bit more forward about standing up for yourself, uh,
Yeah.
also know that it's not, even though this is a spiritual war, this is a war that you've already won, provided you're walking in
Yes.
light.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Isn't there a saying the battle may be won, but the war is not over? But I really look at it again, because some of you may be still working through stuff, and some of you may be feeling that peaceful energy within yourself. Because right now, what do I call this? The cosmos, the planets, they're supporting you. They're supporting. We're being supported with all of this, and you don't have to feel like you're alone. And I was reading something. There's someone named Dara. You were talking about your mom. That part of what you're experiencing, which I want to mention, that is how we can detach from the lineages and stuff, because just because the ancestors are here does not mean that they're okay. Because a lot of times people put power into the ancestors. Yes, our ancestors are here and da da da, but they too have gone through stuff, and many of us carry that energy from the ancestors, and what it is, to do with relationships and what we do with our bodies and who we love, and you know what I'm saying. And so it's imperative. I was listening to your live, Mike, when you were talking about people who are desiring to have their romantic life come together, or their relationships come together. But sometimes you got to release someone you love. It could be a mother, it could be a father, it could be a sister, it could be a
Yeah.
brother, it could be, because if you keep going on and into that programming of what they want, then you will not be free. And this is about you attaining your true freedom. That's where Uranus comes in, is freedom, the ultimate freedom. There's no coincidence that it's in Taurus for 7 years, right? Isn't it 7 years? 7
I
years.
want to say 7 years. Yep, 2026.
And Jupiter is facilitating so much of this expansion of change for you as well. and tap into that inner magic, knowing that you don't have to rely on the power, the old power that has existed with your parents and parents and all that stuff. That you have the ability now to recreate this new energy, this new timeline, 000, the void. Okay, that voided space now with things. And because I'm saying to myself, what, you want to come back again into this shit? Really? No. Time is now. The time
Yeah,
is now. See?
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess I guess in conclusion, wait a minute. I guess in conclusion, remember that even though we're still trucking on, when I say that we're in a warfare, I really mean more so just the fight to stay authentic. If you're familiar with balancing and opposing forces, there's always going to be
Yes.
force,
Yes,
so
there's always gonna, yes, you said it right. Yep.
so how are you going to, on a daily basis, live with integrity? That doesn't mean that every day you're going to be perfect, but
No. No.
be willing to be accountable, but at the same time, be willing to stand up for your own unique way of doing things. Because, especially moving forward, you're going to see this whole movement to cancel people based on the subjective opinions on others, regardless of what those other people are doing are wrong. It's an attack on one's sovereignty that needs to
Yes.
be held in play. Because yeah, you can see it happen to someone else and they're like, oh, that person did something wrong, but when it happens to you, what are you going to do? And it will happen to you. So just be very mindful, to not just accept what people, and this is a theme that I'm going to be moving forward with a lot. Be very prepared for people to say that there's something wrong with you. And yeah, Jupiter
Yeah.
star, Pluto's on my
Mhm.
moon. I haven't been sleeping well. I've been having a lot more dreams, but
What do you mean that you haven't been sleeping well? You mean that you're tired, or you just feel like you have all this energy? What does it feel like for you with this moon?
I feel unmotivated. It's also, well, I won't say unmotivated because there's a lot to motivate me. There's so much to be grateful for. I feel more so stripped, almost in a sense where like, and because it's happening with my Saturn return too, I can feel the pressure of like the collective unconscious
Yeah.
bearing away at my ego, and it's a fight to stay. I know there's a pressure to surrender, but it's this very dark force on my moon that is bringing out insecurities, as far as like everything in my life I've ever felt insecure about, everything where I can literally directly sense at an unconscious level, people just, energies, concepts, just putting me in a position to feel like I'm not good enough, literally seeking to break me down.
So
And
maybe that's what you're balancing out now, with how you relate to people.
yeah,
You
a
know.
lot of it is unconsciously within myself too. So I'm not
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
projecting it on other people. I'm seeing it as like how I'm battling my inner self. But I also know these undercurrents come from, they exist because of what other people are currently thinking. Because there's a highly psychic side to this, and I honor that too. So I've just been battling. But the thing is, like,
You know what it is, Mike? What I'm sensing, don't mean to cut you, is you have a hard time detaching sometimes from people's emotions. And it's almost like you feel sorry for them and you want to please them and all that stuff. So let that go. And then
no,
you'll feel free. Let
that's
it
been the
go.
hardest thing. You nailed it. Because like what I started realizing is like, a lot of like, I've now reached a point where I could realize, wow, like I'll express myself, and then the feeling in
Mhm.
response to that, I used to think was my feeling. And then I realized, as a projector, no, I'm literally feeling the response to my expression, and I'm no longer going to be nice. Like, I don't care if people want to be childish. It's a very childish energy that's more so like almost wanting me to, it's very psychological too. It's a lot of unfair stuff. And that's why through this I have to be uncompromisingly like thorough with myself, and I can't allow myself to lie to myself because
Yeah,
it's
and because one of the things that has been the key player, key energy, I should say, is the emotional body. It's when we allow ourselves to be emotionally manipulated and feel sorry for this one, that is what creates so much of this disharmony. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So sometimes you got to be like that Aquarian where you're detached and you're like, when someone says, "Oh my God, guess what happened?" You're like, "Really? Oh, okay, you'll be all right." So, and I say, "Well, that's cold,"
Hmm.
but it's not. It's not
But
a
that's
matter
still
of being
free.
cold,
It
huh?
is it is freeing
It is.
though. That's what I love
Yeah,
about it. It's very.
yeah.
I feel like I'm really standing. I feel like I'm stepping into myself as an adult. I don't even want to say as a man, like as an adult, because there's so much like pressure to be a man. Oh, you're a grown man, and I feel like the
Oh, please.
I feel like the archetype of a grown man is not
Hmm.
right now is not in authenticity
But
with
who told you? Who told you that you're a grown man? Where do you think that comes from?
exactly. I feel like that's really just another way to label someone and put them in a box.
That's just another label because, as far as I'm concerned, according to Brandon, that most of us are just big kids and little kids and big kids and big in these bodies.
And
You know what I mean?
I'm totally okay with the concept of being mature and growing up, even though Erica Badu said growing up is a trap. But I,
Yes.
I'm really more concerned with living life my own authentic way. And that's not going, I've literally felt energetically that I have walked off of the collective conscious train because you have to be on the train of thought.
Yeah.
And hopped off
Yes.
that, and I'm thinking my own independent thoughts and I'm walking my own path and there's friction. So, I mean, it's not easy, but it's so worth it. And I guess in closing, Venus is 29. I don't know why we do this. We always
What?
talks whenever there's relevant aspects. Like Venus, last time we did our talk, I think it was the moon that was like at the very end of Pisces, ending its cycle. Now we're doing this talk. Venus is 29 degrees Pisces. This is
But
the
guess what? I was born on a Friday, and so I'm Venus, and Venus is in my Pisces.
so, so Spirit was telling me. I wasn't even going to mention this, but and I hate when people are like Spirit told me, but Spirit was
Yeah.
literally like, you need to have Sharon do a calling in your soulmate ritual to honor this Venus position, because we're all going to
Oh.
call our soulmates right now.
Okay.
And just as a sneak peek, and we'll mention it again, episode 3 is going to, which was going to be episode 2, but episode 3 is going to be about the resurrection of the divine masculine and feminine. Sharon
Yes.
has amazing wisdom concerning this. So if you like this episode,
You.
episode 3 is going to be amazing. But we're going to do a mass ritual right now. We have like 248 people. So this is going to work, guys. Venus 29 degrees is closing out the cycle that it made last year. And I'm going to give you the exact date of what this was. We're talking about February, basically the beginning of March. Specifically, the last time Venus was here was March 5th, 2019. In fact, maybe even March 6th, 2018. And now we're April 19th. So March 5th of last year, we're closing that cycle off. So us calling in our soulmates is going to work. And why? And I like to really logically explain this. So it's not just me saying, why is the fact that once we do this ceremony, you're going to call this in? Well, we literally have the master Grand Wizard Star Goddess Sharon Andrea going to.
Grandmaster Flash, right, Sharon?
But
That's right.
it's so important that you have Venus and you have Venus in Pisces, you have your moon in Pisces, and you're an Aquarius sun. So you're literally our universal connect and source to draw this energy in. Everyone here knows you're legit. So I'm trying to get you guys excited. For those of you who are in a relationship or single, if you want to call on your soulmate, this is a one in a lifetime opportunity. Now that Venus is 29 degrees and Uranus is in Taurus and Chiron is in Aries, who is ready to really experience this?
You got to be ready to receive. Receptivity is very important with this.
And the sun is 29 degrees. Last time the
Love you
sun was
too, all of you. Love you, Sharon. Yeah, Heidi. Yes. Go ahead.
so definitely excited.
Yeah.
Um and you could take this, you could do this in any way you want. I'm honored and grateful to be
Yeah.
this.
I love it. I love when you have that bashful smile.
Damn it.
And I look on the clock and I see 933. So that's the vibration of threes and threes and threes and threes and threes. Yes. Not social about day. Irando durida to sundiraro kundiraro dino dera bomira to tundiraro sunshmira. Aridido dida dido dida dida. The elements of Andromeda and Nation no kunira susoroto no jara. It also is Syrian, Orion, Tarusono Mirada Bitero Konomarido, Pink Moon Energy, Kodorosono Dishano Mitero Koniradi di Sironte, Isana Tisholonidadi di Kidori Chichokonidara Ponte, Isana di Kitonidadi, Kitonide Don de la Monde. Let's keep remembering where love resides. It's here, it's present, always present. True love of the heart, true love of your soul. When we release all these energies continuously, we're doing it together simultaneously. The element of fire has burned through everything else that has not served us and served our highest purpose. That all of the cloud and everything has been lifted. The veil is lifted, and we're really centering on the third eye, on what we're seeing beyond the physical eye. We're coming into a greater alignment of who we are, kings and queens. Who says that there is no such thing as romance? Yes, there is romance of the heart, romance of our souls. Misero kusine chanonde. Arisi suko dishinam to ude kusina tisinode. On this pink moon, pink is for love. Pink is for both masculine and feminine. Who says that it's only for girls? Pink is for boys too. Tarotso shenanide. Aduso shenanide. Dede. When we close our eyes and we think of pink, what do you think of? You think of love. When you desire love, you bring love to you. And how do you do that? Perfume, flowers. Music, love music. Sensuality, sexuality. All the things that have been taboo, that we've turned against, we're now bringing it back. Really, how much I'm so in love with each and every one of you. Are you in love with me? I'm in love with you. Asinto shtunkundilambu dirani tundelala. Tisina do chito kundirara, tisina ne kitoro tumbirala dedo. Atidi chito kundirete, soto shtukunira de kitana bikitombe. We're in gratitude for the divine, sacred union, partnerships of ourselves and who we're connected to. We're in gratitude for this powerful love that's permeating on earth. The love that comes together with these partnerships is what really lifts things away. That's what it does. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. Just be this love and continue to come back to love when you have anything else that's the opposite of love. You wouldn't know what love is if you didn't experience the opposite. So it's always present. It's just, are you remembering? Do you remember? Because it is now present. And feel this partner, feel this love, because you're now ready to receive. If you feel you're not ready to receive, then look into seeing where the blocks are coming from. If it's from a mother, you passed through your mother's womb, you came out through her vagina, so you carried energy of something that may be in resistance to this love, whether it should be, or it's based on relationship patterns, relationship beliefs. being attached to whether or not, it's something on paper. You're not in love. It's not just about love. It's being in love, and staying in love. Staying in love. Terato shno kunera di tishina la diketonida. Uriza urumida di tokushila ne de saron kuteraba. And what we're bringing into balance is the love of self and the love of others and being in love. And what we're doing is we're creating a combustion here. It's like a energy of fire. God, it's passion. The kudu no romance. And so it is. I say. Mm.
Wow.
144 likes. Couldn't ask for a better sign.
Amen. Amen to that. That's very true.
Yes.
Very true indeed.
So I have there was a song I was supposed to, not supposed to, but I should have played last night when I was talking about what, these connections that we have. And we may think that there are blocks and things that keep us apart, but it really is just an illusion. It's just an illusion. And no matter what anyone says, no matter what anyone does, push through this energy and remember that love is always present. You don't have to do something to have it. You don't have to be up to anyone else's expectation of this. You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the key things to what you're bringing into your own energy field, to do with this love. And that nothing can separate you from this love by right of your consciousness. Nothing. Okay? Nothing at all. So I'm going to play this one last song, because you know that there's always the song of our hearts. The song of your heart, that code, it's a particular frequency that calls you home to each other. Okay? So remember to be mindful of staying in that frequency. Okay? Your frequency to your love life, you are living life in love, and the frequency to that code, the code that is between you and that sacred partner, no one else has that code, because it's between you and that person. So listen to the frequency of your heart and where it takes you within your heart, and that's how you call yourselves home to each other. Okay? So that's what I'm hearing, and I'm giving you that message while I'm still finding the song. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. That was a channeled message. That was a channel message. You know that it's a continuation, and the more that we light up ourselves like this Christmas tree with this love, is the more it permeates on earth. And people who are in the relationships of the past, they too will end up having to shift, because it becomes a domino effect. Okay?
Yep.
And it's not something that you just see it, but it's going to be felt from the heart. So keep awakening to yourselves and to what your heart is speaking with your specific soul tone. Okay? And that's what I'm hearing. Still trying to find the song. I'm almost there. Okay, I found it. I'm hearing. I found it and I got to pause this. I'm almost there. Okay, I found it. I'm hearing. I found it and I got to pause this. I'm almost there.
I can't let go. I can't let go. No. Oh, why must they try to tear down my house when they know it's made from love, and they can never stand in our way? We made a vow to love, throw it all on.
We are one.
And no one has the right to tap my love. No matter what the people say, I do anyway. You are my life. Even if we disagree, you can put it on me. I can't, I can't let you go. How dare they say that a love like ours won't last? God made no mistake. We need shelter, be with your heart. There's no safer place than love, and here I will stand. And there ain't never, ain't gonna never leave you alone. No matter what the people say, anyway, no matter what the people say, even if it's possible, if we put we get it right, you are my life. Even if we disagree, even if we disagree, you are my life. Every part of me belongs to you. Have me, have me. No matter what the people say, I'm going anyway. You are my life. Can't let you go now. Even if it was a fight, try to make it right. You are my life. Can't let you go. You can put it on. What's wrong with me? I can't let you go. No, I can't let you go. No matter what the people say, no matter what the people say. People say.
So that is from
And
DJ Sharon's higher self.
DJ Sharon. Amazing.
Yes, 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 yes. So it's such perfect timing. Perfect, perfect timing. Yeah. I love my music. You know, music is the language of the soul, and that's how we communicate through love with music, and it keeps your heart open, and everything else would just continue to fall off and fall off. You know what I mean? And we're navigating through some deep stuff, the different elements, different things, and it's all happening all at once. You see, all happening. That's right, Anthony Hamilton. No matter what the people say, we're going to love each other anyway and who we're connected to, because this is from creation. From creation. You see what I'm saying? This is from creation. Nothing can separate you from this. So the more we get past the illusions and shatter through all that stuff and all the dark energies and all the forces out there that may have tried to keep those who are in the sacred path in separation, the gig is up. It's over. See?
And
That's
I,
right.
I pulled the sun card for the ritual. So thank you so much. The sun shall shine on all of you. It's the card of successful unions, but it's more about the card. It's definitely about the energy in your heart. Grandmaster Sharon and the Furious Angel in the building. I love it. I love it.
I love it too. I love it. Yep.
So
Yep.
we have your channel as usual in the description box and your website. Definitely
Yes.
consider
If
it.
anyone would like to schedule a private session with me, you can feel free to email me at the Garden of Eden 1111 at gmail.com, and feel free to visit my website www.thereturnofthegardenofeden.com. And also I'm on Facebook, Sharon Andrea. I'm also a medium, and I do past life regression. I also do special I read the energy, I should say, when it comes to the twin, those who are on the twin soul path, whether you're on ascension path or whatever it may be. I have the ability to read the energy. So I am in such gratitude for each and every one of you joining myself and Mike, because when I brought it up with Mike said, Sharon, I'm bored. I was like, Dag, I'm bored too. Let's get it on. And that's why we're here. Help, we're doing this together because it's teamwork. It's teamwork, okay? And
Yeah.
we don't have to be ashamed of being in love, and we don't have to be afraid to declare this love, okay? Because love is what brought us here right now. Love brought us here right now in this time space continuum. And so it is.
Amen to that. And thank you all for
Amen.
staying through. Catch us in another 2 weeks where we'll do episode 3. And yeah, you guys stay blessed as always.
Stay blessed. Peace.